Welcome to the universe. I'm Empty Pencils and I'm going to be showing you how to use the bike builder in the bike shop. So you go into there, you'll be greeted with a screen. As you can see, this is like a pretty much standard bike. I'll take you through the assemble section. You get a whole bunch of options down the left here on how to customize the look of your bike. So this is like the center console. And you got your handlebars. These change positions of how the character rides the bike. Your pedals. Most of them are at the back here, but you do get the ones that are located in the front if you want to go for like a more Harley Davidson style rider. And you also got some seat options that you can change. The nose of your bike you can also change. Then we've got the wings on the front. We can swing around to the back. You got this reactor. You can hit spacebar to give it a test how it looks. Then the rear end of the bike. Depends on how tall you want it to be or what shape you're looking for. Seat top. You can change the top of the seat to a different style if you want to. And lastly, you got the rear wing, which you can mess around with as well. This also changes the thrusters. Alright, so I'd say you first want to figure out what the shape of your bike is going to look like. Once you got that into place, you'll head over to paint. Over here you can select the part of the bike you want to paint and select the color. You have to do it for each part, so take your time, go through that. I think what I might do is just a very cheesy patriotic bike today, so I'm going to change everything to blue just for now. We can maybe leave the back white, two-tone. There's lots of little areas you need to explore that need changing, so make sure you have a good look around the bike before you finalize anything. You can also paint the lights on here, so you have to select them and you can change them to a different color as well, which is really neat. Right, then let's move on to decals. So this is basically how you're going to paint your bike. This is where you're probably going to spend most of your time and have the most fun. So I will just throw down some stripes. Let's go for this one. Some nice red. Just going to throw it down here. So as you can see, that's on the bike now. You can move it around with that center button. The one that's off the square is to rotate it. And then you've got some options down here. These are your masking options and alignments. So this matches the camera. Whatever angle you're looking at the bike, that's the angle that the decal will be applied. Then you can also go onto the one that's the mesh, which is this one here, the surface of the Hoverbike. And then you've also got the world alignment. So let's try a world alignment. Go sideways. And now I'm going to make this much bigger. Alright, since it should be red and white, I'm going to quickly switch over to the adjust palette. This blue that I painted the bike, I can now select it and change it to white, and everything that the color is will change. Alright, nice, let's go back into there. So instead of painting this individually, I'm going to just use a square to speed it up. I'm going to pick a blue and just go over the back here. I need to change my alignments, maybe 3D view. If you grab the corner of the decal, you can change the scale, which is super helpful. Just put it over there. Make sure the whole bike is covered. So you can see here that's covering the other side. That's because I've got mirrored on. So I can take mirrored off, and if I take draw on back face, that off, you'll see it only draws one side. But if you want both sides, mirror is your best option. This other option here, drawing on back face, that's kind of like, think of it as a laser. So if I'm going to take a circle, I'm going to adjust it to camera, and I'm going to draw straight through here. Let's pick a different color so you can see it. So in theory, this circle should show up towards the bottom. Oh, I don't have the right option on. Hang on. Let's draw there, turn the mirror off. Yeah, you see, it goes through lower, so it's going through that angle. So it's kind of a tricky thing to use intentionally. It can get some cool effects, but it's probably going to be a lot of trial and error. So let's get some stars in here. I'll just take this star, change it white, and then you can do this clamp decal. If you take that off, it turns into a stamp and it goes over everything. Now obviously we don't want it all over the bike, so what we can do is hit the filter. You can select the parts that you don't want it on, and it gets rid of it. That's kind of like a masking feature. You have to say I'm done before you can rotate, and then you need to move over to the other side and do the same thing. And I'm done again. Looks like there's still one on the nose there. So as you can see, we're getting somewhere pretty quickly. Now what I can show you is also on the layers here. If you want, you can select all three and hit a new group, and now you have better control over the things you're doing, so that can be hidden away and put back. I'm going to hide that for now just so I can show you some of the masking effects. So we'll start off with just a square. Let's make it blue, nice and visible. Split up a bit. So what you can do with this is you can also add some fade effects, depending on where that's located. And this is really cool if you want to build up like decals on top of each other, so you can create some really intricate stuff. You've also got this one, which is a circle. It's probably messing up because of the mirror. So really cool stuff, and it doesn't look so useful on a square, but if you're doing something like a pattern, this is where it can really come into play. By default, I think they have the clamp off, so that's all over the bike, but if you change that, you can get it to just be in one place, and then you can mess around with the masking on those, which is pretty cool. There's quite a few different things you can go through here. You've got the black and white patterns as well, which basically means you can change them to any color you want them to be. And this is what's important. It's like once you start layering things on top of each other, you get much nicer effects. Now, I don't know where that's gone. Interesting. Oh, I haven't laid it down yet. There we go. Also, another good tip is you can change the transparency of your decal, which makes it also easier to do build up and more subtle effects. So I'll just change that over here. You can get something more minimalist. But just remember, if you change the transparency on a color, it will, every time you pick it, it will also be transparent. Then there's also some decals for the heroes, some Krisha, Ryu, it's all great. Anil, these are really cool to play around with if you want to just do like small little effects on the side of the bike. Sometimes you'll see them clip over like this. That's when it's a good time to play with the alignment options. And you'll see you can get rid of it sometimes. One thing to be aware of, if you're doing text, you don't really want to mirror it because it's not going to read the same. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know when it comes to painting. I've already told you how you can adjust the palette. So if we go to this white, we change it to something red, you see how that affects everything. This grey, let's change that to a blue, see how that changes everything. And then lastly, you've got your effects. So this is for your thrusters, so you can turn this on, it'll continually go, and then you can switch the slider. The second circle is the back end, the tail end of the thrust. The first one is the front. I find if you get just the right amount of distance between the two colors, you can get them to change from like 3 different colors, which is pretty cool. And then you can also use a spacebar to turn that on. Once you're really happy with your bike and you have a bike blank, that's when you'll be finalizing it. So far they're really hard to come by, but there should be more of them coming out soon, and we'll have loads more custom bikes to play with. And lastly, if you leave the controls for a few seconds, there'll be a automatic video that starts playing and you'll be able to see your bike in better detail. Also nice if you want to record a little video before you mint it. It might just take a little second to kick in, should be soon. There we go. Nice little cinematic before you add it to the blockchain. And there you have it. That's how you use the bike builder. Tips for creating certain designs. I think it's a really good idea to have a design in mind before you start, because there's so many options and so many variants you can do that you might just spend hours and get nowhere. So have an idea and then just work away at it. You don't have to finish it fast, like build it up slow and you'll have something really awesome by the end of it. Alright, happy building. Can't wait to see what you all make. This is super exciting.